As the gentle morning sunlight streamed into Blake's apparel, a middle-aged woman walked in, dressed simply in a freshly pressed sales associate uniform. "Hello, I'm Rebecca Harris, the new employee. I'm looking forward to some guidance." She smiled warmly. Behind the counter, the manager, Tracy Morgan, squinted at her, a flicker of suspicion in her eyes. "A new employee, huh? I thought this job was more for fresh graduates. You seem a bit too old to be working here." Tracy smirked, half joking, half serious. Rebecca merely smiled politely. Little did anyone know. Behind that modest appearance was Rebecca Harris, the founder and CEO of the well-known Blake's apparel chain. Every year, Rebecca secretly disguises herself as a new employee to experience the business operations at the lowest level, where the real issues are often hidden from the top management's view. At a modern office of Wellington Corp., a new receptionist nervously walked up to the front desk with a file in hand. "Hi, I'm Samantha Brooks. Today's my first day," she greeted politely. No one in the office had any idea that Samantha was actually Samantha Wellington, the young CEO of the multi-million-dollar corporation. To understand the real work environment, Samantha had decided to secretly join the company under the guise of a new receptionist, a role where she could observe the most authentic behaviors of both employees and middle-level management. At a bustling restaurant called the Liberty Grill, an older woman in a brand-new apron nervously stepped into the staff area. "I'm Margaret Blake, the new waitress," she introduced herself. Her eyes filled with both excitement and worry. The restaurant manager, Todd Jenkins, looked Margaret up and down with a disapproving gaze. "Oh, so this old lady is going to be our waitress," Todd whispered to his colleague, a half smile on his lips. But Todd had no idea that Margaret was actually Margaret Blake, the founder and CEO of the Liberty Grill chain. As she did every year, Margaret disguised herself as a new waitress to witness firsthand how the restaurant she built truly operated, searching for hidden gems and ready to take swift action against those who abused their power or mistreated staff. Rebecca Harris quietly worked neatly, folding jeans on the shelf. Although she was already familiar with the retail environment, she still played the role of a humble new employee. As Rebecca meticulously folded each pair of jeans, a shy young girl approached her. "Excuse me, I have a job interview coming up. I want to find an outfit that's both professional and comfortable. But this is my first time interviewing, so I'm a little nervous," the girl confessed. Rebecca smiled gently. "Don't worry. A classic pinstripe suit is always a safe choice. That's still stylish. I think this size will fit you perfectly. Let me take you to the fitting room." The girl walked out in the suit, her eyes bright with newfound confidence. Rebecca felt warmth in her heart, but that sweet moment was quickly shattered by Tracy Morgan, the store manager. Tracy pulled Rebecca aside, her voice harsh. "What do you think you're doing? She looks like she can barely afford that suit. You have to be careful or we might lose stock." Rebecca was stunned. She immediately realized a culture of judgment and prejudice was creeping into the very store she had built. Samantha Brooks sat upright at the front desk, greeting each customer with a smile. In just a few hours, she had witnessed starkly contrasting attitudes. Some employees were polite and friendly. Others were incredibly rude. The most notable of them was Chad Walker, a smug sales associate. From the moment he met Samantha, Chad made crude advances. "Meeting you here must be fate. Beautiful. How about dinner tonight?" Samantha politely declined, citing the company's no-dating policy. But Chad just sneered. "Company policy, who cares? And who knows, I might soon be the regional director and then you'll see." But it didn't end there. Samantha overheard Chad boasting to a colleague about falsifying sales numbers to get a promotion. He arrogantly declared, "Every sale I report it twice. Once online, once by phone, double the sales, half the effort. Pretty smart, huh?" Samantha clenched her fist under the front desk. The dishonesty, the sexist attitude, and the blatant cheating could not be allowed in her company. Margaret Blake trailed behind Sweetie, a young waitress with a sad smile. While guiding Margaret through taking orders, Sweetie confided, "My real name is Emily, but Todd started calling me Sweetie on day one. I've asked him to stop, but he said if I didn't like it, I could leave. I really need the money." Margaret felt a surge of anger rise within her. As if that wasn't enough, Todd slapped Emily on the shoulder in a crude manner as he passed by. "Hurry up and teach this old lady sweet cheeks." The atmosphere grew suffocating. Margaret looked around and saw the resigned expressions on the young employees' faces. Here harassment, insult, and disrespect had become the standard that everyone had to endure. Rebecca Harris walked slowly down the aisles, her eyes silently scanning every movement in the store. Tracy Morgan, the manager who should have been a role model for politeness and customer support, instead revealed her true face full of prejudice and unfairness. Witnessing Tracy publicly humiliating the young girl just because of her simple appearance. Rebecca realized a painful truth. An environment that should foster confidence and ambition was instead crushing it from the start. It wasn't just about the attitude toward customers. Deeper down, it was a culture that judged others based solely on their outward appearance, something Rebecca had always strived to eliminate when building her brand. Rebecca reminded herself, if a store manager behaves like this, when there's no one to supervise, how many other customers have silently endured this kind of humiliation? Samantha Brooks stood behind the front desk, maintaining a calm exterior, but inside she was boiling. Chad Walker, the sales associate praised for his outstanding performance, was actually a blatant cheat, disrespecting his colleagues and demeaning women. When Samantha overheard Chad bragging, "I report each order twice, once online and once over the phone, so my sales are double. Who's gonna know?" She immediately understood the success he prided himself on was an illusion. A company that allowed people like him to rise to leadership positions was essentially destroying the very core values it was built upon. But it didn't stop there. Chad had crossed an ethical line, continuously harassing her, someone he saw as just a dumb new receptionist. In that moment, Samantha made a decision. Not only would she deal with the fraudulent behavior, but she would also work to cleanse the culture of respect and fairness at Wellington Corp. Margaret Blake quietly observed as Todd Jenkins, the restaurant manager, shamelessly teased and insulted the female staff in front of everyone. "Sweetie, hurry up! That customer wants to stare at you a bit longer." Todd whistled crudely. Emily Sweetie's real name just gritted her teeth, trying to maintain a forced smile. The entire restaurant seemed to sink into a heavy silence. No one dared object. No one dared stand up. Margaret realized resignation had become the culture here. Employees were treated like display items, and anyone who dared to speak up was met with the inevitable path being fired. A deep sense of disappointment filled Margaret's heart. This was not the restaurant she had built from scratch with a belief in kindness and mutual respect. As Rebecca Harris approached the checkout counter, she caught Tracy Morgan pointing at the young girl, commanding, "Take that outfit off. This place isn't for people like you." Rebecca took a deep breath. It was time to end the act. Her voice rang out calm yet powerful. "Tracy, I think we need to talk right now." Tracy turned around, her face showing irritation, but her arrogance quickly turned to shock as Rebecca removed her trainee name tag and calmly said, "I am Rebecca Harris, founder and CEO of Blake's Apparel." Tracy's face turned pale. She stammered, This is just a joke. I was just training the new employees in a fun way." Rebecca looked her straight in the eye, her tone firm. "Discrimination and disrespect are never a joke here. Blake's was built on respect and empowering people, not belittling anyone based on their appearance. You're fired immediately." Tracy walked out, leaving behind a sigh of relief from the staff, while the young girl thanked Rebecca with teary eyes. Samantha Brooks entered the meeting room where the staff had gathered. Chad Walker, with his usual smugness, stood in the middle of the room grinning. "They must be calling me up to announce an early promotion," he boasted to his colleagues. But when Samantha stepped up to the podium, removed her receptionist name tag and introduced herself. "Hello, I'm Samantha Wellington, CEO of Wellington Corp." The room fell into complete silence. Chad's jaw dropped, his face turning pale. Samantha stared directly at him. "From the moment I entered this company, you've continuously harassed me, belittled your colleagues, and falsified sales numbers. We've reviewed all the sales data, and we have concrete evidence that you've been inflating the results." Chad quickly protested. "No, that was just a strategy. I'm the best salesperson in the company." Samantha calmly replied. At Wellington Corp, honesty, integrity, and respect always come before sales. You're fired. And please let security escort you out of the building. Chad stormed out in a fit of rage, leaving behind a room full of gentle applause, like a breath of fresh air filling the atmosphere. Margaret Blake stood by the bar observing Todd Jenkins still making crude jokes with Emily. Hey, sweet cheeks, come over here and let me take a look. Margaret clenched her fists. No more hesitation. She walked straight up to Todd, her voice firm. Todd, stop right now. Todd turned around, sneering. Oh, who does this old lady think she is? Margaret removed her apron and calmly said, I am Margaret Blake, the founder and CEO of the Liberty Grill. Todd stood frozen, as if struck by lightning. Margaret coldly continued. The way you treat your staff is unforgivable. Your harassment, insults, and lack of respect have destroyed the working environment here. I'm asking you to leave the restaurant immediately or I will call the police. Todd stammered in defense, but Margaret didn't give him a chance. You have 5 seconds to get out of here, Todd. Todd hastily packed his things and scurried out the back door, met by the scornful eyes of the entire staff. Margaret turned back, smiling warmly at Emily. From today, you're no longer sweet cheeks. You'll be Emily, and you deserve to be respected. After Tracy Morgan left, the atmosphere in the store seemed to brighten once more. Rebecca Harris gently walked over to the young girl who had just tried on the suit. You look fantastic in this outfit, and you deserve the very best opportunity. Rebecca smiled, handing the girl a full gift certificate to support her upcoming job search. The other employees gathered around Rebecca, their eyes filled with gratitude. Rebecca spoke to the entire store. Blake's doesn't just sell clothes. We sell trust, confidence, and respect. Starting today, I will personally implement a complete retraining program for the entire sales team so that every customer, no matter who they are, feels as welcome as they would in their own home. Applause echoed throughout the store. Rebecca knew this was just the beginning, but it was the right kind of beginning. At the official meeting, Samantha Wellington stepped onto the stage with Austin, the sincere sales associate she had noticed from the very start. Austin, she said to the entire company, you not only achieved truly impressive sales, but also demonstrated character integrity and respect for everyone. Samantha handed Austin the appointment letter for his new role as regional sales director to the cheers of his colleagues. I believe that solid values will lead Wellington Corp to long-term success, Samantha continued. And today, we begin that journey anew with honesty, unity, and trust in people. The entire office stood and applauded. A new atmosphere full of hope and commitment spread throughout the room. Margaret Blake held a staff meeting right in the restaurant. She took Emily's hand, the young girl who had been harassed for so long, and stepped into the center of the room. Starting today, I'm pleased to announce that Emily will be our new restaurant manager, Margaret declared. Emily has shown me the power of perseverance, kindness, and genuine customer service. Emily was overwhelmed with emotion, unable to speak. The other employees applauded in unison, many with tears in their eyes. Margaret continued, Liberty Grill doesn't just serve hamburgers. We serve warmth, kindness, and professional pride. And from today, I pledge that this will always be a place where everyone is treated with the respect they truly deserve. The warm golden light filled the restaurant. A new chapter had begun, brighter, more human. As the noise settled and the calm lingered in the wake of the turmoil, the 3 CEOs sat separately in their own corners, reflecting on the journey they had just experienced. Rebecca Harris, founder of Blake's Apparel, thought about the young girl who had once timidly walked into the store, her hands trembling. Rebecca realized, we can't just sell clothes. We sell dreams, confidence, and self-belief. If our employees don't understand that, then all the marketing campaigns in the world are meaningless. This event strengthened Rebecca's resolve to refresh the customer service culture. No more judgment, just acceptance and inspiration. Samantha Wellington, CEO of Wellington Corp., recalled the stunned look on Chad's face when he was exposed. Samantha understood that Talent cannot replace integrity. A company is truly strong only when every individual within it values honesty and mutual respect. From this experience, Samantha planned to develop additional training programs on business ethics and workplace culture, making integrity a core value embedded in every action. No matter how small, Margaret Blake, founder of the Liberty Grill, would always remember Emily's bright smile on her first day as manager. Margaret reflected, "A healthy environment is not created by slogans on the walls. It is built every day through genuine respect for even the smallest individual." And she vowed to always stand by her employees so no one in the Liberty Grill family would ever have to face injustice alone. 3 leaders, 3 lessons, but one shared belief: people must always be at the heart of every business decision. Internal culture is not something to be displayed. It must come alive in every action taken daily. Respect, integrity, and human spirit are the strongest foundations for sustainable success.